Oh, hey everybody. It's me again. I'm in a car again. But this time it's a little different. I'm actually in my own car. And the reason I'm in my own car and the reason we're talking about my own car is because there's gonna be a lot of work going on that I'm gonna film about this car. And I just wanted to give you guys, I guess, not so much a preview of what's going to happen because I'm not entirely sure when certain things are going to happen. I just wanted to basically give you, oh geez, I almost lost the camera. I just want to give you guys an intro to the car, let you get to know it a little bit, before I start getting into the different things that I want to do with it. So yeah, let's get started with that. If you hear anything weird, but it's like on a pattern, it's my windshield wipers because it's raining. That's what it is. That vlog life. So, my car is a 2000, year 2000 Lincoln LS. I know, it's a Lincoln, Ford Motor Company. A lot of people aren't crazy about it, especially because of the gas mileage. And I can tell you, to be perfectly honest, for a car that is now 17 years old, the gas mileage is good. It's not great. It's probably not as good as it used to be way back in 2000. But it's a lot better than you would expect from a large V8 powered car from over a decade ago. Almost 20 years! This car's almost 20 years old. But anyway, let's get into a little bit more of the details. So the engine is a 3.9 liter V8. Now, during this period that they were making this car, it was a period when they were working pretty closely with Jaguar, and so some people will say about these cars, like, oh yeah, it's got a Jaguar engine in it. Okay, technically accurate, but what's more accurate is it's got a Ford engine that Jaguar also used at that time period. I was one of those people who was initially fooled into thinking that it was a Jaguar engine right from the get-go. But you know, if you consider the certain level of pedigree that Jaguar basically demands out of its products, I think, you know, you make out alright with this engine. I think it's alright. It certainly hauls like mad, which I'm not going to do any of that in this video, at least. But anyway, basically what I've done is I've bought a cheap luxury car from 17 years ago. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Which means it's got awesome features like heated seats and a 6 CD changer. You know, luxury. It's pretty great. There's some things that I'm working on as far as the interior is concerned. Like, so it's leather seats, heated leather seats, and there's a big old rip in the driver's seat. I'm gonna see if I can patch that. Or there's actually 3 or 4 of these at the junkyard a couple of towns away that I grab spare parts from every once in a while when I need them. And I think one of them has the same interior, and the seat isn't as bad, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm trying to keep it as original and as spiffy as possible. Yeah. So, you've got a 3.9 liter V8, you've got rear wheel drive, 50-50 weight distribution. The gas mileage is not as bad as one would think for a 17-year-old car. So overall, it was a really great buy. Used, I think it was just under $4,000, or maybe like 20 bucks over $4,000, and that was, gosh, when did we buy this car? I think we bought this car 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years. Now, before we get too far in, I do want to say this is not a review of the car so much. Like I said before, I wanted to give you like an intro to it. Just so you get the basics, and I also, you know, in talking about the seat and stuff like that, and how comfortable the interior is and that sort of thing, and I'm going to talk about the style a little bit, I want you to know where my head is at with this car, because of all the things that I want to do with it, and that sort of thing. So overall, I really like the car. I'm very comfortable with the car. Not my favorite as a daily driver, but I do really like it, and I do want to hang on to it, and like, even if I end up getting a new car, something that's more my style, or more just better for daily driving in general, I still would like to be able to hang on to this car to work on, and you know, make it better, and maybe even make it into an event car for a type of event that I will get to in a few minutes. But, so yeah, the style is interesting. I'll put up a picture real quick, because I'm going to say this, and if you're a car person, you'll understand. If you're not so much a car person, you might not understand. It's still got the rear end of, you know, the classic 1990s Lincolns, which, you know, in my generation, you see that rear end, you see that car, and you see that it's a Lincoln. Right from the rear end, you're like, hey, look, it's a grandma car. And that I'm not crazy about. I'm used to it now. I'm alright with it now. There's not much that I would change about it. Like, I'm not gonna put a spoiler on it or anything ridiculous like that. I'm more comfortable with it now. It's sporty in the front, and then as you get to the back, it turns back into a Lincoln, basically. And you'll see that from the photos, the videos, that sort of thing. The clips that I'll share in this video. So overall style, I'm good with. I hate the wheels. I would like the wheels better if they didn't have 17 years of curb scratches and nonsense. All over them. I just, it bothers the crap out of me. So maybe eventually I will get a buffer and a polisher or whatever, and I'll do that myself. Or if one day I have the money, I'll take it to a guy. You know, just so that I have, like, even if I were to get new wheels, like flashier looking things, or the ideal wheels for the type of event I would like to go to, even if I get that stuff, I still want to hang on to the originals. That's just, I don't know what it is, that's just a thing for me. I would like to take care of this car as much as possible, and keep it as original as possible. Which is why in the past videos, I'm trying to glue back together the original center console fan piece, instead of just immediately going out to the junkyard and getting a different one. You know, I want to be able to keep it as original as possible. There are some pieces that I have already replaced because they were just beyond my ability to repair. But, you know, that sort of thing.
So overall, I am very comfortable with this car. I really like it a lot. It's comfortable, it's safe, it's an okay fuel efficiency. You know, it's not killing me or anything like that. That's fine. Did he just drive into the background of my video? I think he did. He's probably staring at me right now because vlog life. But anyway, so I'm really comfortable with this car. I really want to hang on to it. Really want to keep it as original as possible. But here are the changes that I would like to make. The first thing is the wheels. Obviously, I was just talking about how much I do not like the wheels right now because they're all scuffed up and scratched up and stuff like that. One of them even, like, it's like, I don't even know how I'm gonna, even if I got like a buffer or something like that, I don't even know how it would come out. It's a pretty deep gash. Like, I don't know what the heck the previous owner ran into or what. It's nasty. It's a nasty, nasty gash. So we'll see what comes of that at some point. I would like to replace them with something nicer. Something with a little more low-profile tires because that's just what I like. The thing about switching the tires, though, is that the other thing that I really want to change up, I want to put new suspension on it. Some of the suspension has to be replaced anyway by the time I get it inspected again, which is August of this year. So we'll see what I can do. You know, I'd like to adjust the ride height a little bit, and that is going to go hand in hand with the other thing about the wheels. I want to go for a more low-profile tire, but I also want to go a little wider in its stance, put some spacers on it or something like that, simply because the style of the car, and I'll throw a clip in here, if you can, when you look down the side of it, what you get is, you know, sporty in the front end. It rides a little high in the front end, a little higher than I like, but the wheels fit great, and then for some reason the fenders flare out a little bit around the rear wheels, and it doesn't make sense with the entire flow of the vehicle. I like to have my wheels be, you know, just behind the fender. That just seems to make more sense with me. Or for me, rather. So I want to be able to make that adjustment as well. Put spacers on the rear wheels. Maybe a little bit more space for, you know, smaller spacers for the front wheels. That sort of thing. And the, you know, like I said, the ride height, it's a little taller than I like in the front. It's perfect in the back. So it's going to be a whole bunch of little adjustments for that, you know, the whole setup until I find exactly what I'm looking for. So there's that. The other thing is, you know, a lot of people who modify their cars in this way, especially people my age, and you see a lot of YouTubers doing it, that sort of thing, they swap out engines. They'll swap, you know, for like a 2JZ or something like that. They'll find something that they can swap out, or they'll just put a turbo on it. I have considered putting a turbo on it. I don't know. I just don't know. That's gonna be like, I think, one of the last things that I'm gonna do, if I'm gonna do it at all. Because instead of swapping out the engine or anything like that, I would like to be able to take the engine out, completely tear it apart, clean it, new gaskets, new spark plug, new everything. New hoses, new wires, if some of the wires need to be replaced, that sort of thing. Maybe paint the headers, I don't know. Or not the headers, what am I talking about? I should probably learn what things are called first. It's just not coming to me. Anyway, we'll figure it out. So yeah, so I'd like to just clean the whole thing out, that sort of thing. if any adjustments have to be made or can be made to like the transmission or anything like that, I'd love to be able to do that. The other thing that I'm not crazy about with this car is it is not manual. It's just your standard BS, in my opinion. It's okay. Like, I'm not having a terrible time of it or anything like that. I just prefer manual cars. So I have been thinking about seeing if there is a manual transmission kit. Because there are some companies with some cars that manufacture such a thing, where if you are adept enough, you can take out the transmission, take out the automatic shift, and swap it for a manual. The other option is, because of how much I like the styling of this car and, you know, how comfortable it is and stuff like that, the other option is seeing if I can swap it for a 2001 LS Sport, which already came with sport suspension and better wheels, and came with a manual transmission. So maybe if I can find somebody who wants to swap, tweet me. If I can find some kind of deal like that, that would be awesome too. I'm down for that. But as far as, you know, holding on to the car that I already have, you know, that's kind of an option, you know, an option that I'm considering is swapping it out for, swapping out the automatic transmission for a manual, because I don't like it a lot. And then that'll help with gas mileage too. So yeah, so wheels, tires, suspension, spacers, that sort of thing. Clean and rebuild the engine. Maybe swap out for a manual. Like I said, a turbo would probably be like the last thing I would do. If I got jonesed to do it, I would do it when I have the engine pulled and have everything apart already. What else? There are some little things, you know, little things that are easier to work on, less expensive to work on, that I'm going to be working on sooner. Like, you know, re-gluing the air vent. I have this switch down here for the passenger side window that is, how you say it, verkakte. So there's that. There's another switch on here. The window lock switch is really goofy. The passenger side window, the motor for the passenger side window broke almost immediately after I got the car. So we're going on 2 years of that just being broken and propped up with a door stop that I have just jammed down into the window. That needs to be fixed. That'll be a run to the, you know, the car place to yank that out of a door. That sort of thing. It's nothing that I haven't done before. I haven't done it before to this car. But that's another thing that we should talk about real quick. I am not a professional mechanic. That has never come to pass. However, all of my own cars I have worked on extensively. All the cars that I have owned in the past, I've worked on just about everything. My first car was a Hyundai. I ended up doing, you know, the exhaust, one of the pieces of suspension, window motors, steering wheel. I did a lot on that car. And then basically the same stuff on all the cars following. I did a transmission on the Mazda that I had. I had a 99 Mazda Protege. I did the transmission on, which was really just, you know, there was just some junk floating around in there, and then, you know, replaced a piece of that. So there's that. It's getting foggy in here because I'm talking too much. There's a cop sitting over there. What's up, cop? Anyway, so what else? Yeah, so I have experience with working on a lot of this type of stuff. There are some things that I won't do. I don't usually do head gaskets. I've done head gaskets on other people's cars. But that's because, you know, they had all the tools to do it. They already bought all the parts and stuff like that. So as far as my own car is concerned, I'm going to have to take my time with it. You know, actually purchase the parts, and, you know, I need a torque wrench, which I think my dad still has his torque wrench. I don't know, we'll find out. But yeah, so there's some stuff that I won't typically do, but I can do. So there are going to be times when I'm working on this car, and it's going to be something either new that I've never done before. Like, I've worked on engines before, but I've never completely broken them down before. I've never taken pistons out, or anything like that, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, there's, it's gonna be a bit of an adventure working on this car. At least that's the plan anyway, you know. It might end up that I have to trade this car in for the necessity of getting a better car as a daily. And then the hopes and dreams of having a project car will have to wait to a certain extent. And that's okay too. If it has to wait, it has to wait. And I'll do what I gotta do. You know? So yeah. So, I've already thrown in a couple of clips of the car, but here is a quick video tour of the car. And, yeah, just check it out. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm really excited to be working on this. Alright, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and share this with your car friends. Because, you know, there are a lot of car videos out there, guys working on their projects, and it's really, really boring. And one of my primary goals with this is to make it as not boring as possible. to really make it, you know, something that you can engage with, and, you know, like doing a brake job, you can share it with a friend who doesn't understand cars but wants to understand cars, but needs their attention held the entire time, you know. That sort of thing I can definitely deliver on. Thanks for watching. Smash that like button. Leave a comment. Tell me about what you're working on. Or if you have the same car, because I'd love to talk to other people who own similar cars. Alright, peace.